Nobody protected her. Not the families walking by, not the teenagers standing 5 feet away, not the grown adults who watched the whole thing happen and just kept moving, but a group of people that most of the world would cross the street to avoid. They were the only ones who showed up. This is the story of what happened at Santa Monica Pier on a regular afternoon, and why it broke the internet, made grown men cry, and reminded every single one of us what it actually means to be human. Stay with me, because this one is going to hit you hard. Her name was Maya, 19 years old. She had cerebral palsy, a condition she was born with that affected how she moved, how she walked, how she held herself. She used crutches to get around, not because she was weak, because her body worked differently than most. And she had spent her entire life learning to live with that, learning to ignore the stares, the whispers, the looks people gave her when she walked into a room. She had learned to handle all of that. What she wasn't prepared for was what happened that Saturday afternoon. Maya had gone to Santa Monica Pier with her younger brother. It was supposed to be a simple day out. Sun, some food, maybe a ride or two. The kind of day that sounds so normal it almost hurts to say out loud. Because for Maya, normal days weren't always guaranteed. They had just finished eating when a group of 5 guys, late teens, maybe early 20s, started walking behind her. At first it was just staring. Then came the comments, low enough that people nearby could hear, loud enough that Maya definitely heard every single word. Why is she even out here? Move faster, cripple. And then one of them, kicked her crutch. She fell. Not all the way to the ground, but enough. Enough to lose her balance, enough to grab the railing. Enough for her eyes to fill with tears she was trying everything not to let fall. Her brother, 12 years old, froze. He didn't know what to do. He was just a kid watching his sister get humiliated in front of a crowd of strangers. And the crowd? The crowd watched. Some people looked uncomfortable. Some people looked away. Some people even kept eating their food. Nobody moved. Nobody said a word. In a place filled with hundreds of people on a busy Saturday, a 19-year-old girl with cerebral palsy was being mocked and physically messed with. And the world just kept spinning. That's the part that stays with you. Not just what the bullies did, but what everyone else didn't do. There's actually research on this. It's called the bystander effect, a psychological phenomenon, where people are less likely to help someone in trouble. When there are more people around, the more witnesses there are, the more everyone assumes someone else will step in. So nobody does. It sounds crazy, but it's real. It's documented. And it plays out every single day in situations exactly like this one. And it was playing out right here, right now on Santa Monica Pier. But here's where the story changes. About 40 feet away, a group of bikers had parked up and were walking toward the pier. There were around 30 of them. Big guys, leather jackets, tattoos, the whole thing. The kind of group that, if you're being honest, most people would feel a little nervous walking past. One of them, a man named Darnell, a former Marine who'd been riding with this group for 6 years, heard the commotion before he saw it. He said later in an interview that he didn't even fully understand what was happening at first. He just saw a young girl grabbing a railing, trying not to fall with tears running down her face. And he saw the guys laughing. That was enough. Darnell walked over, calm, no yelling, no rushing. He just walked straight up to the group and stood between them and Maya. And then, one by one, the rest of the bikers followed, without a word being exchanged between them, without anyone giving an order. They just moved. 30 men in leather jackets forming a wall between a 19-year-old girl and the people who had just hurt her. The pier went quiet. One of the bullies tried to say something. Darnell looked at him and said, very quietly, and these are his actual words from the interview, "You really want to finish that sentence?" They didn't. The 5 guys left, not running but fast, and the crowd that had been silent for the past several minutes started clapping. Slowly at first, then loud enough that people on the other end of the pier turned around to see what was happening. But the bikers weren't done. They didn't just leave after scaring the bullies off. They stayed. They sat with Maya and her brother for over an hour. They bought them food. They made her laugh. Actually laugh within 20 minutes of what had just happened to her. One of the older bikers, a grandfather named Roy, sat next to her brother and talked to him the whole time because he could see the kid was still shaking. Maya posted about it 2 days later. A simple post, no video, just words. She wrote that she had spent her whole life feeling like her. Disability made her invisible, or worse, a target. And that for the first time in a long time, a group of strangers made her feel like she mattered, like she was worth protecting. That post got shared over 2 million times. And the comments were something else. Thousands of people writing about their own moments of being ignored in public when they needed help. Disabled people, elderly people, people who had been bullied and watched strangers do nothing. All of them saying the same thing, that this story felt personal. that it touched something they had buried a long time ago. Because here's the thing about what those bikers did. It wasn't complicated. They didn't do anything that required special training or a particular skill set. They just decided that what was happening wasn't okay, and they acted on that decision. That's it. That's the whole thing. And yet it was rare enough to go viral. Rare enough to make millions of people cry. Rare enough that Maya felt she had to post about it because she genuinely couldn't believe it had happened. That should make us stop and think. How many times have we been in the crowd? How many times have we seen something uncomfortable and looked away, told ourselves it wasn't our place, assumed someone else would handle it? The bystander effect doesn't make us bad people. But knowing about it, understanding it, that gives us a choice. Every single time. Darnell said something in his interview that has stuck with a lot of people since this story spread. He said the bikers had a rule in their group. Not a written rule, just something they all understood. He said, "We don't walk past people who need help. That's not who we are. That's it. That's the whole rule." Maya is doing well. She and her brother went back to Santa Monica Pier a few weeks after it happened, this time with Darnell, Roy, and a handful of the other bikers who had been there that day. She posted a photo from the trip. She's smiling in it, really smiling. And the 5 guys who humiliated her? 2 of them actually reached out to apologize, not publicly, but directly to Maya. Whether those apologies meant anything is between them and her. But the fact that this story reached far enough, spread wide enough, that they felt the need to say something, that matters too. Because that's what happens when people stop being silent. Not every story like this ends this way. Not every crowd has a Darnell in it. Not every victim gets an hour of kindness from strangers after one of their worst moments. But every single one of us has the ability to be that person. The one who moves when everyone else stays still. You don't need a leather jacket. You don't need 30 friends behind you. You just need to decide, in that moment, that it's not okay. And act like it.